One Heart, One Earth summits. You can find all the information about me at lisamgunshore.com. And welcome in everyone who's joining. And I'm so honored and so happy. I feel like she's my soul sister already to welcome April today. Welcome, April.
Thank you so much, Lisa. This is a wonderful platform to have, and I'm just so honored to be here.
Me too. And I'm going to let you take it away. And for everybody joining in, enjoy the class.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. We will just go right into this. So you already know the description of this class, and it's techniques for deep rest. So that's where we will be. And we'll just begin on our backs. So everyone just go ahead and lie down flat on your back. If you need something under the back of your head, go ahead and find that. You can do maybe a pillow or a blanket. The rule of thumb you want to have with the back of your head is that you want your chin to drop underneath the forehead. So just make sure that that's happening. We want to go into the nervous system directly. So just make sure that that is going on along that neck so that your collarbones can broaden. And then we will begin as we really start to settle in for these techniques. Now, you can come back to this video whenever you need. However, what I really like to teach is empowerment. It's my passion to give you the tools to find this deep rest by yourself and to practice into this more and more and more. And those tools are really very accessible, which is what we'll find out tonight if you haven't practiced with me before. So as you settle in, you'll just be listening more to my voice during this class than you will be watching me. You might watch me 1 or 2 times. However, you'll just be really tuning into my voice so that you can just come into a place of deep rest. And that's what we are needing during these times, and some deep nervous system training as well. So as you start to settle on your back, I just want you to tune into your back body. Back body is where the parasympathetic nervous system we can access that. We can access a deeper awareness, and we access this really kind of heavy melting. You're going to hear me say that word so often, melting into the floor, into the props that you're lying upon. So let's just begin with the bottoms of your feet and just invite any tension in the toes, in the pads, the balls of your feet, your arches, your ankles, your heels. Just allow any tension there to just completely melt away. Now, there's such deep holding and rigidity in so many of our bodies that this is just an invitation. We can't force ourselves to relax. That's the paradigm and the paradox. So we need to make sure that we're being quite gentle and that we're just allowing this rest to come upon us. So gentleness is not weakness. Gentleness is its own kind of really power-packed thing in itself, just very powerful. So just taking a moment and feeling into the feet and into the lower legs, into the knees, into the upper thighs, into the glutes, just relaxing there through the glutes, relaxing through the hips, relaxing through the low belly. And again, it's about an invitation. It's an invitation. We're just noticing and beginning to work into this deep rest. The lengthening of the spine continues, and the vertebrae all the way up as you lie flat on your back. So as we lie down, we're connecting back body to the floor. You're just hearing my voice now. Noticing breath coming in through collarbones, into the rib cage. And what the back of your hands are doing, whether they're facing down or whether those palms are turned up. And make a conscious decision there. A lot of times it's nice to have our palms down because it's a very grounding feeling. However, when we turn our palms up, we automatically rotate the collarbones broad and wide. So feel your preference. And there's also an in-between. There's an open and there's a middle, and then there's a palms down. And then feel the back of your head just connecting to what is underneath of you. Notice what's going on is that breath is starting to come upon you. So this is, rest comes upon us. We all know, we've all slept and we know how rest works. This kind of rest that I'm teaching tonight has been equivalent to maybe 4 hours of sleep, 5 hours of sleep. So deep rest, when we access it, is a powerful healing agent. That's because we're accessing the parasympathetic nervous system, the rest, digest, nourish, and heal. And so as you continue to scan your body for any holding that you may not realize you have, just continue to do that. Front body melts into your back body, so those muscles in your front body are just relaxing and melting down into the muscles of the back body as they connect more deeply to what you're lying on. And we are going to work with the relaxation technique that I absolutely love. It's a little bit of P&F work, proprioceptive neuromuscular facilitation. It's a little bit of that. And what it does is it sweeps our tension away. So a lot of times we hold this tension, we live with the tension so often and so much that we're holding that we don't know that it's tension anymore. So this technique really helps us release that. So when you're ready, bring your awareness to your heels and press your heels into the floor, into the mat, whatever you're lying on. Press your heels strongly. Don't access the tops of your feet. So you don't have to press out through your heels and bring your toes forward. You're just pressing into your heels. And I want you to notice how that accesses our posterior chain of the back body. We engage our calves, we engage our hamstrings, and we notice that those bigger muscles engage. So pressing your heels into the floor without over engaging the feet. Squeeze your glutes together, left and right, both sides. And then press your low belly towards the floor. Maybe your low back touches, maybe it doesn't, but your low back is moving towards the floor. And then your rib cage, the lower part of your rib cage, your low back rib cage also presses into the floor. Then we move to the shoulder blades. Shoulder blades press into the floor. Backs of the hands press into the floor. And then we access this, drawing it all together by pressing into the back of whatever's underneath you from the back of your throat. So that's I want you to hear me say that again. We press into the back of the head, into what's underneath us from the back of our throat. That's the tip of our spines. So we don't want to overuse the trapezius muscles, these neck muscles. We want to engage the spine. And as you can feel this, we're powerfully engaging center body. So this technique for rest is also deep postural work. So you can feel that line from the arches, up the bones of the calves, up the bones of the thighs, into the hips, up the bone, all the vertebrae of the spinal column, all the way into the skull. So you're holding here and you're making sure that you're not gripping jaw or tongue. So we do a little bit of strength work to relax in a more powerful, meaningful way. And I power you up this way because it's very easy to power up. We can clench all day long. I can tell all of you to clench and you're good. To relax your muscles, we often don't know how. So what our practice here is that we power up very mindfully so that we're not overpowering other things like our jaw or our toes or our fingers or our shoulders. And then on the exhale, and I'll cue you to do this, I'm just talking right now, we flop, we release everything all at once. And that's very skillful relaxation. So on your next exhale, I'd like you to do that. Take that nice deep breath on an inhale, and then on the exhale, let everything melt all at once. Notice that that big natural breath comes in. We're really opening the way for this sigh, this yawn, this healing, natural, big breath that the body wants to allow in. Feel how rest is coming upon you. We'll take that again, and for those of you who haven't done this with me. Now you can use this technique. Many of my clients and students love this technique for when they wake up in the middle of the night, for going to sleep, for relaxing in the middle of the day when they've had a stressful day. So this is a really powerful technique to get us into rest very quickly, especially the more we practice it. So one more time, press those heels into the floor. Make sure you're not over-engaging the top of the feet. Feel that posterior chain get very strong. Calves and hamstrings. Squeeze those glutes together. Drop that belly down and in. Drop that rib cage down and in. So you're knitting low belly to upper belly and creating this one strong space. Press your shoulder blades into the floor, backs of the hands, and then again, we bring everything, I love to call it bringing everything online by pressing the back of the head into what is ever underneath it from the back of the throat. So from the very tip of the spine we work. And you're holding here, and let's go a little bit deeper into our awareness here. And notice if you're gripping your jaw, gripping your tongue, gripping that space between the eyes, gripping your fingers, gripping your toes. None of that is helping us here. And most of that is very usually our mind gripping. So we want to sweep that away. So our question here is, how can we start to introduce this idea of effortless effort? Of creating all this strength and unlocking all this power effortlessly. We see it happen all the time in nature. Feel how that feels. And then on your next exhale, again, I'd like you just to melt everything down at once. As much as possible. Again, that's a powerful practice to start to teach ourselves. Maybe we melt down and realize, oh wow, I'm still holding my pinky toe. Maybe we melt down and realize, oh, my jaw's clenched. That is fantastic information for how you're walking throughout your day, for how you're walking throughout your life. And I like to do things in threes. It's just what I do. So again, one more time, press those heels into the floor. Don't engage the top of your feet. Feel that posterior chain. Squeeze those glutes. Press that belly down into spine, lower belly. Rotate that rib cage down so that it meets upper and lower. Become this strong, strong knitting together. Press into your shoulder blades. Press into the backs of your hands. Press into the back of your head from the back of your throat, and feel how strong this is. This is possible to rest here. Now, I always like to talk about this, and we're not going to do it in this class because we won't stand. But I often have my classes do this against a wall. So the only difference between this and between standing really well is gravity, our relationship to gravity. So this is really helpful as we start to work on standing postures as well. We don't do it as strongly, of course, but all of these things that we're engage somewhat. And then take that deep inhale. Now it's not going to be so deep because you're very powered up in the center body. So just know that. And then on that exhale, find that melting. Feel how the body responds. Feel how your mind responds. Feel how the breath responds when we create the space. And then we'll just invite the breath through the whole body, and we'll do this at the end as well. So just imagine or pretend, again, maybe this doesn't always feel so accessible, but it is happening. So we can just use our imaginations, use that mechanism to allow this energy to move, and the oxygenated blood, and all this that keeps us healthy and our immune system's healthy. So take your awareness to the tips of your toes, and then begin on the inhale. Maybe you think about little nostrils on the tips of your toes, which is not that appetizing, but it is a helpful little analogy. Breathe from the tips of your toes all the way to the crown of your head, and then also breathe up your fingertips as well when you sweep them up. So it's a sweeping breath all the way to the crown of your head, and on the exhale from the crown of the head all the way back down to the tips of your toes. So just continue this breath, and there's a few ways I like to think about this really profound breath, full body breath. I like to think about this as either lying on the ocean, lying on the sand, and the ocean has this really beautiful wave come up, and we can imagine this as a wave. So the wave comes up, and that's the inhale, and then it reaches its apex, its potential. There's a little gap at the very top where it's at full potential, and then everything recedes back down and back out into the ocean, and there's a place, that gap, where it becomes one with the ocean. That's our breath. So we access that, and we recognize 4 parts, those 4 powerful parts. There's no forcing here. It's about inviting, it's about offering the space. It's about creating this space to offer. So this space isn't only in our fascia, our muscles. This space happens in our minds. It happens in our hearts. So each exhale just takes you deeper. Each exhale just allows you to release. We're moving into our parasympathetic nervous system. We're balancing that out, that rest, digest, nourish, heal. There's a really powerful misunderstanding in our culture that rest is being lazy or laziness. That misunderstanding is really powerful because we operate off that as a culture, and we operate off that within the culture. So we have to consciously change these old habits of thinking and realize that accessing rest is where we heal. It's where we digest, not just our food, we process our emotions as human beings. We digest our days. We nourish. All this is profound work. There's not one bit of laziness to that. To allow ourselves to put ourselves in a space of rest. So just continuing that circular breath, that wave breath, up the body on an inhale. And then just all the way back down. This is just so gentle. It's like a process of nature. It is a process of nature. So notice how our first technique that we did 3 times just really allowed you to come into a different place. Now we're only doing 2 more poses here. So by the end, I'm hoping that you might be close to a deep space or maybe even sleep. But we're going to move right now into crocodile pose. So all you're going to do is just flip right over. Go slow here. Keep this container, really keep the container of moving slow. So crocodile is lying on your belly. Now, if you have shoulder impingement, something going on with your shoulders, then a book or something, you press in. This is vagus nerve activating, and we have to find something like that. So if you want to watch me, I can put this book just so your nose isn't smushed. I can put the book here. Everyone else that doesn't have shoulder impingements or shoulder issues going on, just rest your head on your hands and then turn your feet out. Notice immediately how that activated the breath, the diaphragmatic breath. This pose is powerful for a lot of reasons. When we press into our foreheads, the way that we are, we often see that in our culture. We do it ourselves where we say, oh, I forgot something. We press into our forehead to calm ourselves down naturally. So what we're doing here is we're working with the vagus nerve. The vagus nerve regulates blood pressure, heart rate, digestion. So when we work with the vagus nerve, we actually can find vagal tone, just as we can find nervous system balance. So the vagal tone is really profound for how we live our lives. We can live our lives in higher blood pressure and higher heart rate, or we can realize that rest is medicine. So vagal tone is really powerful, and it balances the nervous system. And interestingly enough, this all goes hand in hand. As you're feeling this, it's activating diaphragmatic breathing. So feel your belly pressing into the floor as you take an inhale and then contracting back in. Feel your rib cage and the flexibility and the marvel of this flexibility of the rib cage as it balloons out. I like to talk about it like an umbrella. Our ribs, our strong bones are also so flexible. All the little muscles between the rib cage, the intercostals are opening and then relaxing. So feel how profound this is in your body. We take breath so for granted. It's something that we do, I don't even know how many times a day, and in a lifetime, I don't know, but so many times that it's an automatic thing that we are born with. It's the first thing we do. And yet so often we don't realize that we have to tone our respiratory system. We have to balance and keep our respiratory system strong. No one ever told us we had to balance our nervous system. We just run around chained to it all day and think, why do I feel stressed out? Why do I have high blood pressure? Why do I have bad digestion? Why did I get in a fight with my spouse all the time? Why do I not have a lot of friends? Well, a lot of this is how we operate. We know that stress absolutely lowers our immune system. There are many studies done. So this right here, this pose regulates and really, I think, really kind of melts stress away. We're moving from, again, that overactive sympathetic nervous system into a more balanced place. So anybody with any breathing difficulties, COPD, during this time, this is an especially powerful breath. This creates healthy lungs. It gets all the air kind of out. All that stale air moves out. And if we don't really know how to access diaphragmatic breathing, sitting up or standing up, this is a beautiful place to start to learn, because it automatically does that in the body. Now you may start to feel how your brain is slowing down. So we're never trying to completely stop thoughts. It's not possible. Our mind is made to think. What we can do is speed the cycles down. So most of us live in a beta state. The beta state is 13 to 40 hertz. Now, hertz is a unit of electrical frequency, and 1 hertz means something happens once per second. So we call that a cycle per second. So let me restate that. The beta brain cycle is 13 to 40 hertz. I like to think about this analogy of a ceiling fan being on really, really fast at its highest speed. That's the beta cycle. So if we live in this brain state, it's associated with worry, stress, paranoia, fear, irritability, moodiness, anger, and it's connected absolutely, as I said before, to a weakened immune system, and it's connected to depression and anxiety as well, living in this brain state. And this is where most of our culture, most of our world lives at this point. So again, just like we need to cultivate a balanced nervous system, this goes hand in hand, absolutely. We cultivate a balanced mind by accessing the alpha state. So that's 7 to 13 hertz cycles per second there. And this is our natural state of stillness. It's our natural state of relaxation, of meditation. This is a powerful learning place. It's called super learning. Powerful place to store memory. It's spacious, with a heightened creativity, clarity, connection, peace, and expansiveness. Now, so many people often say to me, I don't know how to meditate. I'd like to translate that word for my own self into silence or stillness or deep prayer. The word meditate will work for us at this moment, but they're very similar. What's powerful to know about ourselves, this is so empowering, at least it was for me, is that we don't have to learn how to meditate. We're in and out of an alpha cycle every 20 seconds. It's that we have to learn how to access this brain state, which is what you're doing right now. So it all goes hand in hand. We have a balanced nervous system. We're moving more out of the alpha state. We're living more in the alpha state, less in the beta state. We want the beta state. We want the sympathetic nervous system. We want that fight, flight, freeze, appease, because we have to slam on the brakes in the car. We have to protect ourselves. We want that reaction to happen. We just don't want to live there. When we live there, we aren't very fun. We're not that fun to be around when we live in that beta brain state, when we're in our sympathetic nervous system all the time. And we aren't feeling fulfilled. We aren't feeling happy. Because we're not accessing that part of ourselves that is naturally still, creative, expansive, connecting, healing, nourishing. So just really start to, again, tune in on a deeper level into perhaps deeper awareness of how this pose is coming upon you. So I like to say a couple things that my students always hear. Our physical body takes a shape, and then that shape comes upon us as we hold, as we rest, as we relax. And then we consciously place our bodies in a way that's powerful for what we're working with, whether it be rest or bone building or whatever else. We consciously place ourselves in that pose, and then we work from the outside in, and then breath meets us, which you're feeling right now. You're feeling the breath meeting you from the inside out, which creates this incredibly powerful dynamic, I love to call it the dynamic stillness. So you feel that coming upon you. Notice when this happens, how your brain state has started to slow. That ceiling fan is on its lowest cycle now. Just kind of moving around. It's not heightened. Maybe some things are occurring to you in some type of creative way. Maybe you're just feeling that powerful healing taking place. I had one of my teachers say, stuck with me so long as so many things teachers say do. We have the potential to be aware of our cellular functions. That's powerful. It's powerful. So here we're working proprioceptively. Proprioception is spatial medicine. We feel the tips of our toes at the same time that we feel the tips of our ears. At the same time we feel our bottom lip. At the same time we feel our right arm. At the same time we feel our left hip and glute. That's proprioception. We know where we are in space. Interoception is an incredibly powerful inner medicine. We become more aware of the heartbeat in the fingertips, the heartbeat in the tips of your toes, the heartbeat in your inner groins, the heartbeat in your jaw. We become more aware of our inner functions. That's what interoception is. And so we move, as I love to call it, from grace to grace. We go from one awareness to perhaps a deeper one. So not moving yet, just taking the last few breaths here and allowing that deep rest to move more within. And even when we move, when I tell you where to go, we're going to move as if we are moving through jello, just so slowly. You're keeping that capaciousness. You're keeping the space as you transition back onto your back into one of the most powerful poses, I believe, available to our human bodies, which is constructive rest. Now, if you don't know constructive rest, I'll tell you how to get into it. It's your knees bent and your feet on the floor. It's not like a bridge where your feet are directly under you. So if you need to find how your feet need to be placed, then lift your knees up, lift your heels up, lift your feet up, and knees are directly over hips. Keep this space in the back of the legs and then just drop the feet straight down. So what it ends up looking like in the back of the legs is that the negative space is a pyramid rather than a skyscraper. And then once again, because we would have been so deep already, because we have accessed these functions already, drop more fully into your back body. Relax more fully in to your front body. Now, as we access the parasympathetic and come into deeper balance, you may start to get chilly. That means you're in the exact right place. That's what happens. You may start to hear your stomach growling. Yes, you're in the right place. So feeling into the bottoms of your feet, and we really work in these powerful, deep subtleties that allow us to arrange ourselves well. First of all, to work posturally, which is what we've been doing this whole time, believe it or not, and to also allow for rest in the body. So feeling into the bottoms of your feet, just gently, if you feel like it, lift your toes up and press into the big toe mound, the pinky toe mound, and right in front of the heel, this beautiful triangle of each foot. Once you feel very rooted in those 2 feet, drop your toes down like feathers. Now, come to awareness of your ankles. Just know where your ankles are in space. And slide your awareness from your ankles all the way up into your knees. So again, it's this gentle sliding. Feel how long the bone is. Feel how much space is between the bones, the ankles and the knees. And then slide your awareness down from the knees straight into the hips. Feel how your hips are separating, maybe like butterfly wings, just relaxing out and away from each other as the muscles relax. Feel how your low back has that flat space. That's our sacrum, the sacred bone. Now you may need to make a slight adjustment here in order to get your sacred bone level. Just go slow, take it easy, don't overdo it, or don't move at all if you don't want. And then slide your awareness up each vertebrae of your spine. And if you are saying, I don't know what each vertebrae is, fine, pretend. Pretend that you know each vertebrae of your spine and slide it up all the way to the base of your skull as you feel that awareness move up, that healing rest, those deep breaths coming upon you. Feel the weight in your shoulder blades. Now again, as I said, we position ourselves well so the pose can come upon us. This pose, almost like no other, can come upon us. We have to practice it sometimes, or maybe it's a natural pose to you. I had to practice it for a while until I could really feel what I will soon describe to you here. Notice the shoulder blades and if one is heavier than the other. If that's so, I just want you to shift a little bit so that they're both equally draping down over your mat, the floor, whatever you're lying on. And then the same thing here. We feel the back of the head heavy. The back of the neck is elongated. Make a conscious choice where your hands are. Backs of the hands may be resting. That opens the collarbones. If that feels better and you have some, elbow or shoulder impingements, just turn your thumbs up towards the ceiling. We don't want to close those shoulder blades or we don't want to close those collarbones off. Now, another really beautiful tip here that we can work with throughout our day to allow for this toning of our vagal nerve and toning of balancing of the nervous system and working with the alpha state is checking in with our face. I like to call our face the captain of the nervous system ship here. Most of what we intake in sensations is into our face, of course, except for touch and skin. So when we sense danger, we sense it through the nostrils, through the mouth, through our sense of taste, through our ears or eyes. So if our face is gripping, if our jaw is gripping, if our tongue is glued to the top of our mouths, if our between our eyebrows are constantly engaged, then our signal to the rest of the body is to tell the rest of our body to be in a fight, flight, freeze, appease, sympathetic state, to be highly, highly aware of everything around you and to be able to react in one fell swoop. That's where all the cortisol levels arise, the adrenal fatigue, all this is happening because our nervous systems are imbalanced, and there's such simple tools for balancing them. This is one of them. We notice what our face does throughout the day. We have our jaw over-engaged. We relax it. We take a moment. We notice it's engaged again. These are habits we've built up over a lifetime. These habits don't go away with, one little awareness. We work with the habits. But the awareness, it signals the death of the habit. So notice, check in with your face here. Continue to check in with your face, the back of your neck, the tops of your shoulders. See if you can encompass in your awareness, because again, we're in an alpha brain state here. So our alpha brain state just gives us so much expansive awareness. It's a natural place for you to be. So see if that expansive awareness can encompass the bottoms of your feet, the back of your head, your breath, your entire being. See if that yoga union can come upon you. And it is upon you. Now, if you feel like your inner groins are getting a little bit taxed here and you really want to go into a deeper state of rest, then you can take your feet slightly apart, further than hip width distance, and drop your knees together. If you don't need to do that, I don't want you to do that, because this pose right here is so powerful that when we place our bones well, and this is why I say this pose takes practice, when we place our knees directly under gravity, gravity holds us so perfectly that we're aligned and centered and balanced, and you can go into this powerfully even deeper state. Now, if you're not there and you need your knees together, absolutely, because it will get distracting otherwise to keep your knees up. So I want you to make the correct decision for you as we move deeper in. Now, constructive rest, I haven't even mentioned, is, I believe, the most powerful pose available to our human bodies. I know a lot of people would argue with me. I'm not interested in arguing. It's what I've found. It's what I've seen. That doesn't mean it's right or wrong. It just means that's my experience. And why is it my experience? Because it relaxes our psoas muscle. PSOAS. There's two of them on each side. I'll explain to you where they are. This is called sometimes our little brain. It's called the muscle of the soul. It's often where we harbor our traumas. It's often where we harbor our PTSD. Most of our psoas muscles are tight and weak. The interesting thing about the psoas muscle is that we can't strengthen or lengthen this muscle until we have learned to relax it. It doesn't work. So unless we know how to relax it, which is what we're doing right now, we can't strengthen or lengthen. Now, the psoas muscle is powerful for so many reasons. I've taught hours of teacher trainings on this one muscle because it's such a powerful muscle. So I'll distill that as much as possible. This muscle helps regulate our digestion. I'll tell you why in a moment. It works with our diaphragmatic breath fascially, the fascial connection. Our psoas is the root of our legs. So I'm always telling my students and clients, the root of the legs is in our belly because of this muscle. Now let me take you on a journey to meet your psoas if you don't know it. So right in the center, if you know where your lumbar spine is, imagine that space. And the spine is, by the way, this is a little thing I have, a little pet peeve I have, that we call our spines our back. That's not accurate at all. And it's gotten into the, our spoken language. Our spinal column is in the center of our torso. And of course, we know that it has these beautiful curves as it moves up and down in our torso, but it's in the center of our bodies here. The thing that you're feeling when you feel those bones in the back body is called the spinous processes. And they are like, you can imagine like fish fins sticking up in the back of a fish. So lumbar spine, if you don't know where your lumbar spine is, I'll direct you there. So there's a curve in your low back happening right now, and that curve starts to lessen, by the way, and I'll talk about that in a moment. So that curve, at the very top of that curve is where your lumbar spine is. So there's 5 lumbar vertebrae, and the psoas muscle comes directly off those 5 lumbar vertebrae like wings. So I'm introducing you, we're going on a journey here. Those wings come off the lumbar spine, thick muscles too, and scoop down under our digestive organs. Move over top of the pubic bone and then land directly on our femur bone. That's our thigh bone. Now the implications here are those old wives' tales of going to take a long walk after you eat are absolutely correct, because the psoas muscle is actually massaging your digestive organs when you do that. So that's a powerful kind of digestive, tool in our toolkit. So again, let me take you through this muscle again. You have to pretend that you know where it is, because there's not a lot of fascial connection in the psoas, which gives most of our other muscles a lot of feeling. So we can't feel this muscle. This muscle is like that Martin Luther King Jr. speech. We see the wind, we feel the effects of the wind, but we can't see the wind. That's like our psoas muscle. So we feel the effects of the psoas releasing. Again, it goes into that whole other thing I was speaking about earlier. Our lumbar spine starts to relax down towards the floor. Now you're never going to lose that curve there, hopefully, but it just lessens. Our vertebrae extends and elongates, and all those discs start to get this juicy synovial fluid moving through. Psoas is powerful for digestion, powerful for that fascial connection to breath. And once again, it comes off your lumbar vertebrae like wings, scoops down underneath your digestive organs, goes over top that pubic bone and lands right on top of the thigh bone. The psoas muscle is our first defense in our fight or flight mechanism. So if our system is always in a fight or flight, a sympathetic mode, then our psoas is always ready to spring into action, to fight or to run away. So that's why I often say that this powerful pose is really one of the most powerful we have available to us. So let's go through this body scan one more time. The bottoms of your feet. Feel those 3 tripod corners, inviting anything that might still be residing as far as stress or holding in the feet to release. Sliding our awareness from ankle to knee, from knees to hips. And then let's move into deep belly here. So noticing that your soft tissue of your belly is relaxing, those many, many layers of abdominals is really starting to relax and release. Feel the breath move into the pelvic floor, into the pelvic bowl, what I call the 2 hip points, the pubic bone, the tailbone. Feel breath move into this area, flooding it with fresh oxygen, giving our digestive organs some space here. Now you can continue this belly breathing, or you can start to breathe the length of your psoas muscles on either side. So you can imagine just breathing down those muscles, reaching the top of the thigh bone, and then back up. When we bring breath into something, we bring deep intention. So moving more and more deeply within. Continuing to breathe that psoas on either side. And then we return to our friend that we already know is available to us because we did it earlier, that diaphragmatic breath. However, we keep our belly breath as much as possible. Again, this is about inviting, not forcing, creating the space and then offering it. So feeling the rib cage expand as that diaphragm opens up and all those beautiful bones of the rib cage find that expansion, all the little muscles in between, and then that relaxing back in. So notice that your belly also is following this rhythm of your 4-part breath, the inhaling, the pausing, the exhaling, the pausing. It's that potential and the top of the potential, that gap is what we're cultivating. That gap is where we see. And then draw that breath up into the collarbones, into the shoulder blades. Keep the awareness of the belly, breathing into the pelvic bowl. So the pelvic bowl is shaped like this, really like a bowl when we're standing well. And then the diaphragm is an upside down bowl. Now we're moving into the collarbones and the shoulder blades. We feel the shoulder blades expand like wings, fluttering, and then coming back together. And we'll take that breath up into our soft palate, which again is another bowl shape, just facing down. Top of our mouths. Feeling that those 3 diaphragms that we're working with. And then bringing the breath all the way from the pelvic bowl, the pelvic floor, into the top of the skull. Feeling how all those bowl shapes are just allowing this rebound of breath to move through. And keeping breath awareness, let's bring our attention to the center of our chest, our hearts. You can imagine even here, I love the analogy, it just helps me to picture things sometimes. Maybe just putting 2 little nostrils right in your heart there and breathing into your heart, exhaling out, in breath into your heart, out breath, moving out. And now I would like you to think of someone that you just absolutely adore, that you love so much they almost bring tears to your eyes. We're just going to say this together so you can repeat after me in your head. Once I've said it a few times, then you're going to know it already. So this person, he, she, they, may they be happy. You can place a name there. May they be well. May they be peaceful and at rest. So again, breathing in and out of the heart here. May they be happy. May they be well. May they be peaceful and at rest. May they be happy. May they be well. May they be peaceful and at rest. May they be happy. May they be well. May they be peaceful and at rest. And now I want you to bring someone into your mind that you're not quite happy with. Maybe you're angry, maybe you're working on forgiving. Someone that hurt you, it's someone that you're annoyed at, it's someone that doesn't feel good to you. And again, he, she, they. May they be happy. May they be well. May they be peaceful and at rest. May they be happy. May they be well. May they be peaceful and find rest. May they be happy. May they be well. May they be peaceful and find rest. May they be happy. May they be well. May they be peaceful and find rest. And then we move into our harshest critic of all, making friends with ourselves. Offering ourselves the same wish that we would to those we love most. May I be happy. May I be well. May I be peaceful and find rest. May I be happy. May I be well. May I be peaceful and find rest. May I be happy. May I be well. May I be peaceful and find rest. May I be happy. May I be well. May I be peaceful and find rest. And I thank you all. May you be happy. May you be well. May you be peaceful. And may you find rest. Thank you all for letting me guide you.